sometimes, but I'd never say goodbye or ever leave this stuff behind.
Hello and welcome back to the Valorant Game Changers Academy, brought to you by Verizon and AIM Labs. I'm Becky Bear, joined here by the wonderful Epitomes, and we just watched an exciting game of one on Haven. Do you want to give a quick little recap, some things that you want to bring as notes before we go into this next map?
So Haven being tactical throwers map pick, they do win that series, or not the series, they win the match 13-9. We saw really big impact plays from Ibanez, especially on the A site on the defensive. She was able to sneak around a lot of really tricky utility and able to secure a lot of kills and help out her team in a lot of rounds that way. And on the other side, they had Satyr, who is kind of doing the same thing on attack, making a lot of space with the Cloud Burst, the Blade Storm, also being a huge distraction, and Zoe with the edge pick on the Yoru. And I'm kind of curious what team compositions we are going to see on Bind.
Bind is one of those really exciting maps to me because it's like you get to bring out things like the Raze, and Raze is just such a different character compared to Jet. And sometimes it's just beautiful, the difference in like kind of play and mentality that you get to see from these duelist players the moment that they're able to pick up something like that Raze and they don't have to play Jet. And I think it's a big reason that you don't see Bind as a pick in anything other than a best of 3 match setup. You just don't end up picking it on like a best of 1 unless you really have a duelist that loves to play Raze. And so I think it'll be really interesting to see if that Raze does come out. You can also sometimes utilize something like the Reyna, and I think that that can be extremely impactful. And I would kind of anticipate something like the Reyna over something like the Yoru again, but don't get me wrong, would still be very excited to see a Yoru once again.
I definitely think Raze is what basically she's an agent that has a very small niche, and that niche is split and bind. And if she's not picked on split and bind, she basically just does not get played anywhere. So bind is typically a map where you see Raze get a lot of love. But I mean, Yoru. I'm a Yoru hater, but it's also like I want someone to come up with a strat that is so mind boggling on Yoru that you're just sitting there like, why hasn't this person been played more?
I know. We did even like very, very recently see somebody finally have like a top frag position in VCT on Yoru. So, I mean, potentially people are just like taking a long time to get comfortable with the new changes to Yoru, and a lot of people went from thinking, whoa, Yoru's broken now to actually Yoru is just like maybe not good, and maybe the like baseline idea of this kit is just not good, to maybe it's starting to go up again to like, hey, maybe this agent is kind of playable, maybe it's like still kind of niche. But it did take a win home in that last one. Zoe was at the bottom of the board, but did have some good plays. We did mention that a lot of it maybe wasn't so much because the utility that Yoru brought, and more just because Zoe was getting some good kind of gunplay in the middle of it. So interesting to see if maybe picking up a different agent will do better things for Zoe, or if we'll still see something like that Yoru. We're both excited to see the Raze, and I'm excited to see, I mean, Chamber just does some amazing things on this map. You get to go so far across the map if you're able to get those setups really quickly into the early rounds. You can basically have a rendezvous between A and B site, and then you're like getting to utilize the teleporter without actually having to do that big audio cue from the teleporter. So I definitely anticipate something like a Chamber going onto this map. And then KO has just like slowly been able to take over something like the Sky pick, but sometimes people still pick the Sky just because it's a better comfort pick because she's been out for a little bit longer.
I definitely think that what if we do see a Cypher? Because we saw Chamber has kind of been dominating the Sentinel meta because Sentinels just are not strong, and Bell locks right into that Chamber right off the bat, and Lana, like we talked about, locking into the Sky. But Kaya now hovering the Chamber, but because Chamber is just dominating the Sentinels because he is able to have so much versatility, whereas Sentinels usually have a niche. I was really thinking maybe a Cypher could be brought out on Bind because Chamber has kind of yeeted Cypher into obscurity with the fact that he basically has trips but also has guns. And Cypher
Yeah.
has just a really small niche here. It would have been
Yeah.
really interesting to see that happen.
I know. I thought we went to Agent Select before, and I like did some crazy arm movements the moment that you mentioned Cypher because it made me really excited, but we don't actually see the Cypher get picked up here. So unfortunate, I will do the sad tears instead, but we are going to instead see Kaya and Belle just go ahead with the Chamber picks. I mean, it makes sense. Again, Chamber very good on this map, does have the ability to teleport between and close a ton of distance. But it's definitely maybe not as exciting as I would have liked in something like the Cypher.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's unfortunate that Sentinels just don't have a very strong place in the meta. So a lot of the time, Chamber, who doesn't really fit into that Sentinel sort of play style, get picked up as a pseudo Sentinel, more of sort of like how you would kind of see Viper. But now we're headed into this map of Bind, and we see that the Sova is picked up by both teams this time, as well as a Sky. So the team comps are very similar. The only difference is between that Brimstone as well as the Omen. And starting on the tack, having that Brimstone makes a lot of sense to have that stim beacon so you can go for these really fast takes like the one that we're going to see now on the B site.
Yeah, all three members of the attacking side kind of moving towards the C-long area. The other two kind of lurking towards that other hookah area. Very nicely done between Belle and Shaka here. That Paranoia actually got a lot of work done, and Shaka getting a kill there too, but does fall to Yoja. And now all of a sudden, one member of the attacking side left, but that bomb kind of in a different area code, and Yoja gonna go ahead and do some slow walking to try and retrieve this spike, but does hear that little boom bot and is now just kind of forced to
No way.
that's actually a very nicely geometried boombot, actually being able to check that little corner without like much time to react. And now we do see the smoke go down for Yoja, but is gonna be in a rough situation, ghost in hand, but with both of the members of the defensive side chilling in the smoke, it's gonna be an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah, and only 14 HP, just a small breath of air could have taken her down. Nicely played. That play down long with the Paranoia. I was hyping up the Brim. I was like, yes, stim beacon. But I completely forget, you completely forget how powerful Omen can be with the Paranoia. The hitbox being completely huge, just blinding such a long distance. And it's really hard to avoid down narrow lanes like Belong, and it was really nicely played, and you can see why this is Rando's map choice, because they definitely do have some strats laid out on this defensive side.
That works.
And what a beautiful strategy that we already got to see utilize this early on. I love getting to see teams use utility from all of their agents in tandem and getting the most out of it. I like trying to utilize, okay, that boombot got to go extremely fast for a very long amount of time. We also got to see that Owl Drone go through that teleporter and get information about Belong, as well as this little bit of a link between a Showers and a Short. So very good utilization of this information gathering utility. And all of a sudden, everyone is towards this A site from the defensive side, other than that anchor of that Sova towards B. But I mean, doesn't matter now that it is a 5v4 situation. Shaka being able to pick up that kill onto Zoe is going to gather so much extra bandwidth from this defensive side that they wouldn't otherwise have. That nice little vision blocking smoke coming out on top of those boxes as well, just doing some very beautiful things. And to follow it up, Kaya taking out Kay, Lana to trade back onto Kaya, being very aggressive there, but it going in her favor. Now just trying to peek around this corner, is actually facing down two of them. I don't know if Lana is totally aware of it, but has to turn back around, and that forces Junifor to go forward as well. This back and forth is just so slingshotty here, and now with the defenders with more HP, it's certainly looking to be in their favor, but Belle has to hold down this site alone and kind of on the precipice of running into both of these attackers while waiting for this. Waiting for Ibanez to get onto site, but I mean, it's a great utilization of those shock darts towards those default areas. Beautifully done. Ibanez picking up that kill. The bomb will go down with a second left on the clock here, jousting around the corner. Bulldog, maybe not as good as the Spectre, question mark?
It was probably just a matter of the placement of the crosshairs here, and it's a lot easier to spray down on the Spectre. It was definitely winnable for a second, and Juna, she was in a really tough spot, though, having that one player in vents as well as one heaven. There's really no good way to peek here. But she made a lot of economic damage on that team. So it means that Belle and Ibanez, they have to stick to the Bulldogs, but those can actually contest some long angles here. But the rest of the team, it's Bucky's, Sheriffs, and Light Shields. One on the other side, Tactical Throwers have picked up some rifles for themselves, and this time it looks like they're actually positioned for more of a default spike down in market. They're going to try and find some info, see how this team responds to the way they're playing, and pick based off how that happens. Trailblazer finding a lot of early info, though, just completely clearing out short, and a little bit of U-Haul as well, so they don't think there's a strong presence on A.
Oh no!
Shocking, though. Oh
no! How is that not a complete headshot? I mean, okay, if that was a shorty, it would have killed. I'm gonna say it right now. That's absolutely insane that wasn't a kill to me, and I guarantee if it was a shorty that killed there, but unfortunately Shaka does fall. Satyr will be able to fall there as well, so a nice little trade back and forth, but unfortunately it could have really gone into Shaka's favor. But being down on guns, you gotta be okay for the 1-for-1 trades at least a little bit.
Oh, Lana, she gets taken down low, but Juna is low as well. She's 5 HP, but at least she's got her teammate to defend her. Belle, though, a breath of fresh air is going to take her down. And now it's Zoe in short. She's peeking out. She's taking out the guiding light. It does connect, and Kaya from Showers as well is going to ring true. So a team ace for the side of Tactical Throwers is going to bring them their first round unbind.
I mean, an anticipated win when you have that much better of guns. I mean, if Shaka had to pick up a Bucky, like, it doesn't get much worse than that.
I mean, I definitely think that should have killed Satyr, and Satyr was somehow able to kill Shaka while also being shot at by Ibanez. So it was an interesting interaction in hookah, and I definitely think that this team of Tactical Throwers is going to try and steer clear of hookah for the time being, since they realize, oh, they're doing some sneaky strats on the B site. Instead, they're headed over to A. They got the Owl drone to start the initiation. They know where the trademark is. Satyr's caught out by the trademark a little bit, but she's made her way up into U-Haul with a judge. She's tagged as well. Kay is going to try and stop the plant. Rendezvous out from Kaya is going to avoid all the paint shell damage, but this is a really nice plant coming down for Tactical Throwers.
Yeah, Shaka's gonna try and move out of that other paint shell as well. Goes this paranoia into U-Haul. Satyr tries to get aggressive, but Shaka getting shotgun revenge from that previous round. Yoja also able to pick up that kill onto Lana. We are gonna see that orbital strike come down, as well as the fury from being able to move out of that line of fire. Very nicely done from Yoja, who's, I was gonna say borderline on an ace with that 4K, but Shaka now trying to figure out, how do I get onto this bomb and get to defuse, and it just doesn't look like it's gonna be possible, and a second round is gonna go to Tactical Throwers. Unfortunately, though,
Juniper, she definitely has money to buy another rifle, so it's not the hugest problem here. Unfortunately, Satyr does not have money for that rifle, though, so she's got to stick to the judge. On the other side, Randos, they've got a really janky buy going on. Belle definitely is going to pop the tour de force here, but the rest of her team, they've got Shaka, who saved the rifle from the previous round, but the rest of the team is stuck on those pistols, so they're really looking for a lot of impact with the tour de force. And since we do see that Tactical Throwers is favoring the A site a lot more, they've moved the chamber over, and now it's a 3-person hold on the A site. Trailblazers are going to spot out the sky and U-Haul, however, and Satyr is ready to go really aggressive. Keep in mind, she's got a judge.
Ooh, I mean, and Lana just maybe looking a little bit too low to the ground there with that Sheriff not able to connect to Satyr, who's able to get first blood into this round. Belle trying to watch through these smokes, see if anyone's going to push out with that tour de force. The paranoia narrowly avoids Satyr, who's just trying to get up close and personal, and somehow, I mean, I don't know what any of these shotguns are in this game, but it feels like so many of them are not doing the damage that they should be doing. It's, a very nice peek around that corner from Kay to take Zoe's head off. Belle to follow up with a kill onto Kaya here, trying to position towards an area to go for this defuse. It's actually going to be Shaka to hold it down as Kay goes for an aggressive push. Belle nicely pulling out that classic to finish off Juniper and finish off the round, going into Rando's favor.
even with the buy disadvantage, especially with the guns there, they're able to pull that one out. So that means Randos are still keeping themselves ahead of tactical throwers. They've got both the Showstopper and the From the Shadows online, and it's really hard to say how you use that Omen ultimate. Do you use it to find information for the quick rotations? And it's just really difficult to find proper usage of that. But on the other side, now that tactical throwers are on a save, I expect to see this tour de force being popped by Kaya, and it is. However, Yoja, she's on the top of the board for tactical throwers right now, and she's already got the orbital strike up again. And I think often on Bind, you see Brims being these pillars for their team in the post plant. But now it's a push towards that B site, which they've been straying away from for a long time.
Ooh, I mean, an unfortunate peek out there from Yoja, and now Seder.
No.
Ooh, I mean, I'm gonna try not to die to your own paint shells there, Seder. That was maybe not what you intended for that to go 7 HP through that wall bang that was happening from Shaka there. Shaka will be able to finish that one off. So a very nice angle held there from Shaka towards this hookah area is very rewarded with those 2 kills. And now Lana getting to be aggressive as a result of those 2 kills as well. Picks up that kill there, jousting with Junifor. Nice pull out of that classic. Once again, we're seeing a lot of that in this game.
Oh, Kaya, she's left alone with the tour de force. She doesn't have Spike. She knows that there are people behind her. She's nearsighted by the paranoia. This is rough for her. Oh, an unscoped kill from Kaya, at least as consolation. But tactical throwers, they lose another round and find themselves on a 2-round deficit despite pulling out the ultimate. But now they have 4 ultimates available with the exception of the tour de force as well as rifles. And they're going to really take some time to try and cook up a strat to use all of this util to the most of their advantage.
Yeah, I feel like a big difference that we're seeing between these team compositions is really coming down to this Omen versus Brimstone. The amount of paranoias that have just been so on point from Shaka that at least are like either forcing people to unfortunate corners or actually getting to do blinds that are being extremely impactful is just showing off so nicely here for the side of Randos. And I mean, it definitely is probably a reason that they went ahead and picked Bind as their map choice as well as picked up this Omen because it's just showing up in dividends as far as utility is concerned.
And Brim, you really see Brim being the pillar for the post plant. They're always in some cheeky corners. They've got the Molly ready for someone who's going to tap the spike. They've got the orbital strike. And I really think that I can see this tactical throwers squad playing a really cringy post plant in which they just throw mollies onto the spike as they throw shock darts and they just don't peek it directly. Because that could really work out in their favor, especially now that they also have the Hunter's Fury, which can also, once again, be a really cringe post plant or just help clear out space. But as well as the Showstopper online for Seder, it's kind of like a pseudo lockdown where they have to respect it. They have to make space for her because they know that she can just one-shot them with that rocket launcher.
Seder able to connect through hookah this time with those paint shells. We're going to wait for them to fully fall off and also bring out the blast pack, bring out the big rocket and shoot it into CT. Unfortunately, is not going to be able to find a kill. It will actually be Jimenez to find it. Yoja, though, very nicely able to pick up 2 before falling to Kay's Showstopper of her own. Zoe going to be forced to go through this teleporter and join up with the rest of the team, top off some HP bars here, and the defensive side having to make a run for their money. This little bit of a timeout seeming to do at least okay for the attacking side here as Kaya finishes off Bell there, and now it is up to Lana and a Dream.
Lana, they know exactly where she is. She has to take out the recon drone, but she's got a lot of time, 45 seconds. But there's a lot of places she needs to peek here. The guiding light is going to give away at least the Sky's position, but it's going to connect this time. And even though she can turn away, Kaya is quicker to the trigger here, and they're closing up this gap the best they can.
I mean, so far, so good. Thankfully, only a 2-round deficit is pretty reasonable to come back from. And at 4-3, we could certainly be looking at a great retake strategy. We do have the Hunter's Fury as well as that Orbital Strike. So very beautiful to have both of those ultimates available for the attacking side. Get that bomb down, hold these long angles, and wait to utilize both of those ultimates to keep the defensive side from rocking that bomb down and defused.
Okay, but here's the operator from Bell now, right? And they're trying to take a lot of control with the orbital strike coming out, but on the other side, Showers, they just don't have it. Bell is able to find Junifor, and that's an ultimate off the board. They don't have much utility left over either. Satyr, she goes too aggressive. They don't clear out the smoke, and Kay, she's already taken down 2 for the round. So now Yoja, she can't get the spike down with this recon bolt pinging away, and Shaka, she's gotten herself on top of the truck with the help of a Shrouded Step, and it's all left up to Kaya. She's got to kill 3. Oh my god, it was almost
that was
lined up. But
holy
Shaka,
smokes.
she shuts it down.
My heart stopped. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a collab. But thankfully, Shaka, little ghost that Omen is, able to narrowly avoid some bullets and stay safe. So able to get that round locked before the side of Randos, who are going to continue to hold on to their lead here.
They made it so close, and Shaka was actually unable to pick up the operator that Bell bought into the last round. It had a little bit of impact in Showers, but it was really chaotic up short. They didn't have a good hold, and Kay and Bell getting separated obviously was a detriment. So they are actually on a bit of a janky buy, but Tactical Throwers, their buy is marginally worse.
Oh, certainly true. And now Shaka, top of the board, gonna go ahead and use this Paranoia down along B. I almost said C. C is just like on a completely different map here, but Lana, ooh, taking advantage of that gun advantage there, takes out Satyr, and now will be Ibanez to throw out the Hunter's Fury, trying to get utilization of that long corridor as well. Doesn't get any damage across though. Shaka trying to keep people interested, trying to keep them here. Meanwhile, Lana towards that other area of Hookah on this B site, able to pick up yet another kill, and now throwing out that Trailblazer to gather information and let the rest of the defensive side know that the attackers are moving towards this little pocket towards B long. Will they go through this teleporter and go towards A, or will they keep holding on to B? And it looks like it will be a teleporter play.
Okay, though, she's waiting, and oh my god, getting inside the trademark.
Oh no!
So good. There was such a good combination of utility. It's just so nicely played from this defensive side, and Randos, they're proving to us why this is their map pick. And Junifor, it's all left up to her. Bell, even though she's only got a Bulldog, she's still able to pick up that last kill, and they've brought themselves to at least a tie to have here. But I'm just still thinking about the Paint Shells trademark combo. It was really nice, but now thinking of what Tactical Throwers have to do in this half, they're trying to go for the B site. We see a lot of the time they position Satyr as well as Yoja towards the Hookah area, and they're unable to clear it out most of the time. And I really think that they need to switch out the Brimstone with someone like Sky so they can clear it out more effectively, gather more info, because now they have 2 initiators going towards long, and there's just no info to be found in such a small choke point. But they need Satyr because she's the only agent with enough mobility to hop out of that Hookah window.
Junifor trying to ready some of the shock darts of her own to combat Ibanez, but won't be able to get any damage across. So far, the defensive side down. Lana, who, I mean, held down the fort really well in that last round, so being able to at least get rid of that, he's got to be feeling pretty good. Top off of the HP is going to come out as Zoe's able to utilize that regrowth very nicely. Satyr pushing into U-Haul once again, but Kay watching it very closely, does throw out the paint shells as well to try and get some damage to the rest of the members of the attacking side who are pushed onto this site. And with that, bomb is down. Kay, quick turn to get Yoja. Very nice showstopper alongside a blind to take out Zoe. Bell picking up one as well. Junifor just trying to hold and fight back, but Shaka picking up 2. It is left just up to Kaya, but Kay finishes it off. I'm gonna be honest, Kay and Kaya, their names are so close together. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, making sure I'm saying the right one, but so far, so good. But mentally, every time I want you to know, I'm like, okay, making sure, okay, everything's good.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that, but they're both playing incredibly well. Kay, that was just her round. It really helped out, though, to have Ibanez being able to get that much information with the recon bolt, so she was kind of spamming it down through, and Shaka pulling out the paranoia as well. It was a clinical retake from the side of Randos. And on the other side, Tactical Thrower is just falling apart. They did choose attack to be their opening side, even though Bind is a defender side and map though. So this is a little bit of their own faults here, to putting themselves on a back foot. But now it's a really fast take onto this A site.
Ooh, fast indeed. I mean, all members of the attacking side posturing towards this U-Haul area. And I mean, there's still time for them if they chose to go through that teleporter, but with Satyr falling to Bell, that's going to be that much more difficult. Yoja going ahead with that Inferno, gonna get a lot of, at least stopping people from being able to combat them towards this U-Haul area, guiding Light together a little bit of breathing room, and whoa, I mean, Yoja just completely doing some... completely getting heads with this Sheriff is really just making things that much more easier for the attacking side, and now booking it out of that A site, says, I want nothing to do with it. Let me get this bomb down towards B. I mean, has the Phantom now, so a 1v3 situation is certainly possible, but will be interesting to see how this pans out, waiting for the collision that's going to happen between these two members, and unfortunately not able to finish off even as there. Does mean that K picks up the 3K and the 8th round for Randos.
K, I mean, the past 2 rounds have completely just been K getting 3Ks, and she's been able to frag out very consistently, and now she's playing at the top of her game, I would say. But now last round, before the switch, they've got Satyr 2 points off the showstopper. It's really easy to farm up those ult orbs on Bind if you do think about it, because they're just right next to each other if you take a teleporter. But at the same time, do you want to take that much time fighting over control of Showers and Long just to get that one ultimate on the board when you have 3 others available to yourselves? You got the Orbital Strike, Hunter's Fury, as well as Seekers. You can find a lot of info here, but they're all kind of gathered outside A. They're prepared for a quick take. They've got cleared out U-Haul already. The Sky Smokes are going down. Belle has a tour de force, but she's forced out.
No!
Wait, what?
Oh,
wait,
whoa,
what?
Were we all concussed there? That was insane. Lana being able to pick up 1 while Satyr is blind. Junifor to trade back. Kay also just staying in it, but Zoe picking up 1 as well. It is just kills all across the board. A smorgasbord of damage being dealt all across the board, and ultimately leading to just Shaka against these 2 remaining attackers who are postured with this bomb down. If anyone can make it happen, it certainly would be Shaka. Has the paranoia ready, has From the Shadows, and 2 teleports, and a lot can be done with those abilities, but it's a lot harder to throw at that paranoia if you don't know where people are hiding, and Zoe finishes it off very nicely.
8-4 half, it's not the worst, but they still got 4 rounds down here. They've also avoided the 9-3 curse, if it actually exists here. But now switching on to the sides, the only difference, like we said before, is the Brimstone. And Brimstone as a defensive agent is it's a give and take, because the Sky Smokes are the longest lasting smokes in the game. So that means that they can stall out for a lot longer, but at the same time, Brimstone doesn't have recharging smokes and has a lot smaller range. Even though Bind is one of the smallest maps in the entire game, he still can only play on a single site, and this time it is going to be A.
With that, we do see the start for this round. The attackers now being Randos, gathering information, Recon Bolt and Trailblazer towards this B long site, and it looks like the defensive side is going to choose to get aggressive as well. Zoe and Kaya getting paranoid there, and it will mean that both of them will fall. It's that much harder to shoot when you're blind and afraid. Kay, maybe Paint Shell's not going exactly where intended, but it doesn't matter. The bomb should be able to go down very shortly here for the attackers, and now Junifor just posturing around this smoke. That was definitely a series of shots between both of those players, but ultimately Satyr showing them how it's done using 1 shot there. Bell to finish off those final 2 nonetheless with that headhunter. Okay, we're both able to see the chat, and Juna and Lana literally both said, "Stop kissing me." It's very cute. Okay, if that situation is gonna end up resolving in any way, I appreciate that both players are very aware of how that just went.
I mean, they were just kind of spamming shots, like both to like a little bit right of their heads, and Lana ends up
They didn't want to kill each other. They just
engagement.
wanted to like hurt each other's shoulders a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But it was actually such a really well-timed paranoia. I'm kind of still gushing over how Shaka is using her paranoia here because she uses it on the two defenders in Garden, and that stops them from hearing the hop out of Hookah. So then that allows Kay to wrap around, kill the defenders in Garden, and they don't know that they're there because they can't hear it because of paranoia. And it was just so well-timed, and I really like the strats that we're seeing from Randos here. Even though they are calling themselves Randos and are more of a pug team, they're definitely well-practiced on Bind.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it is their map choice, as you've mentioned. And I mean, once again, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I am loving what Shaka's bringing on this Omen. And I think it is a big reason that they're ahead so far. And it may also be because I'm a little bit of an Omen fangirl, but nonetheless, still excited to see it. And Junifor tagged up quite a bit. The Sky could come over and help out a little bit, but it looks like instead the defensive side is just going to move to the information that has been gathered towards this B side. K getting a little bit tagged up by Kaya there, but nonetheless A-okay, and actually the one to get healed up by that regrowth from the Sky on her respective team. Gonna get some shots through the smoke there, try to get some damage, but ultimately not able to find anyone as the smoke is making it that much more difficult. Spamming through even more after that kill onto Satyr. You know, you gotta be ready for it. Ooh, I mean, hit Marshall shot to take out Junifor, who was low on HP to begin with, is gonna go pretty well, as two classic shots from the defensive side are gonna be good for at least Yoja to pick up this Marshall. And I mean, that's a little bit better of a gun to combat this situation, but maybe not if everyone on the attacking side gets up close and personal. A bit of damage done through that box, some shots coming out, 13 HP, and just running at Yoja. Unfortunately, does mean that Lana finishes it off, and it's double digits for Randos.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a decision that they could have made to just force up that round, but instead they let it go for the full rifle buy. Instead, they did quite a bit of economic damage, so they have two players that are sticking to pistols instead. But Belle has that Guardian, so she can contest the long ranges, which is why you see her playing towards, actually, I have no idea where she is playing towards. They are all grouped up in Market, but Kaya, the other chamber, is sitting long, and once again, it's this double stack in Garden, but this time they place that trademark in Hookah, but they don't have one for the Hookah hop out, so they don't actually know when they're starting to go into the site, is the only problem here.
Lana's going to start us off with this Trailblazer, checking a lot of these corners towards this B long area. Does get shot down, does know where that trademark is and is able to ping it out, and the paranoia to follow up. Once again, that tiny corridor making it that much more difficult, but this time the defensive side is ready. Kaya and Zoe starting off with two nice kills, forced back by those dark covers, and the rest of the attackers trying to push onto site. They're trying to finish off the members of the defensive side before they go for this plant, but unfortunately the ping coming out from that recon bolt means that Ibanez falls and Shaka to follow, who had just as sheriff in that round.
And Flawless, just amazing for this defensive side. Exactly what you need, especially when the enemy team is on double digits. You collect a lot of those ult points as well. Yoja is pretty close to the orbital strike already. And on the other side, they don't have a player who is as close. I think Lana 5 out of 7 on the Seekers, though. But the thing was, it was a really nice adjustment of the hold of the B site, because they actually did have Junifor playing towards B when it happened that K was able to wrap around Hookah. But now they see that there's presence on the B site. They back off a little bit more and just play off their utility, wait for the teammates to come in and help. And it was really nice hold on the B site. But they're going to try and reaggress here. There's a lot of presence, but this time it's more defaulty. Their spike is down in the market. They're waiting, playing for a little bit more info, trying to get some damage.
I mean, I like how they've adapted to waiting for a lot of information. They've been able to identify that some utility gets thrown out from the defensive side as well, the longer that they kind of wait and sit. And I think that playing into the defensive side, trying to get aggressive, is a great way to go about utilizing just a slower tempo on the attacking side.
This early round tempo from the side of Randos has definitely slowed down a lot. We haven't seen them wait out this long, and now they're already kind of into this mid round. It seems like they're going to try and start the push now onto the A side. They've got the smokes down, but they need Showers control here, and Kay just going right on in. Satyr pinched and just not ready.
Oh, and I mean, that is the green light for these attackers. The bomb going down very quickly after those dark covers will dissipate, but the damage is already done, and the defensive side has to get ready for this retake. A lot of damage onto Zoe, so Zoe might just have to be the sacrificial lamb to gather some information going on to this site. But Yoja using this orbital strike to force Lana out of that corner. Very beautifully done. I mean, that's how you got to start utilizing that orbital strike on the defensive side. Very nicely done. Shock to take a kill onto Kaya Ibanez as well to keep it as even as possible, but it just doesn't matter. Yoja, very nicely done. 4K, and a round that it felt like it was really going to go the attacker's way actually goes to tactical throwers.
It was a nice adjustment from Randos as well, but tactical throwers, the retake was incredibly clean, and that is largely attributed to Yoja because she has just been such a solid gunner. She's really just the backbone of tactical throwers squad right now. You saw it on Haven, but you're definitely seeing her shine a lot more on Bind, and it's also because Brim is just so good on this map. We talked about Shaka being really good, but Yoja, it's less of her utility, but how she uses it, and she's really using it to zone out these angles, and it's allowing her to get a lot of value out of Brimstone's kick here. But now, once again, fast take, they've sped up the tempo now, they're going quick onto the A side, they're clearing out U-Haul with some utility. Showers hold, Satyr, she's able to find two.
I mean, Satyr got bested last round and simply said, I'm not letting it happen this round, but Kay and Bell very nicely trying to pick it up. I mean, and picked up it is. Very nice showstopper there to finish off Zoe as well. Lower on guns, but the advantage is certainly going into Rando's way. A bunch of sheriffs in the form of a sheriff from Kay and a headhunter from Bell, but it just does not matter. So much damage is done, and all of a sudden, Kay is the only one left, but does not matter. Kay dies, but Kaya's still in a 1v2 situation with 10 HP. Does have the Tour de Force, but I imagine you don't really want to utilize it in a situation like this of a retake anyway, so certainly going to be in a rough situation looking towards, oh, this is so scary. I mean, Ibanez has just passed like ships in the night towards that CT angle, but Kaya trying to peak those rounds, and it's not going to be enough. A thrifty round for Randos, who are at 11 points now.
The Showers hold was so strong, and from Yoja and Satyr, and they've been playing off each other very well here, but I think it was a little bit of disrespect for the fact that the attackers had the sheriffs here. When they turned around and tried to contest on the site, Bell with the headhunter and Kay with that sheriff were able to take them down, and then the rotation around, they knew there was a lot of presence on the A site, because usually when randos start aggressing onto the site, they don't rotate around, especially when they have that much control. But since it was a thrifty, they had to change things up. But Satyr, she's just chasing down these attackers. She's gotten herself so far into market that showstopper. She just needs to check the corner, and the shot being spammed. Satyr, can she get out? She can! Oh my god. What an interaction in market, Becky.
Holy smokes. I mean, I don't feel like Satyr should have been able to pick one up there, but is just preying on people being thrown off guard by that level of play. And Lana and Ibanez also able to get a lot of damage there as well to get themselves to match point. And I mean, I honestly, a valiant effort from Satyr for just being like, you know what? If the way that I'm going to get some damage dealt is just by going absolutely crazy, then that's what I'm going to do. And I mean, it went better than I would have expected, especially after that showstopper wasn't able to find a target.
Yeah, I definitely think that was incredibly it was an incredibly nice play, or a nice, well, it was a nice strategy. It was just the execution was a little bit tough there, especially since you had Kaya, who had the tour de force in long. She just wasn't able to hit the shots in that case, and it was really unlucky because if she was able to secure some kills, then it made it a lot easier. But now, Ibanez, she's already firm 1 kill with the Hunter's Fury from so far back. And Satyr, she's trying to go aggressive, gets a lot of damage onto Bell. The regrowth is going to bring her back to 95.
Back to 95 HP, but still a 4v4 situation. Owl Drone to gather a little bit of information as to where Satyr is holding right now, followed up by that dark cover to make sure that she isn't able to peek those angles, and now Lana's just watching, waiting to find somebody's head coming around this corner. No success, as that guiding light is going to do a little bit of blinding there, and it looks like with that information and that utility to come out, they're deciding to move towards this B site instead as a change of pace here.
Yeah, they've rotated off of A after they lose Bell to the engagement in short, even though they've already taken down their smokes player. So this is going to be a lot harder with no sky smokes to stop this initiation. Shaka though, oh my god, right after she steps out that smoke, perfectly timed from Junifor. But on match point now, Kaya, she's able to find one. Unfortunately, Ibanez gets off that plant at just the right time. She's trying to bait out the shot. Satyr is able to find her head, and now it's Lana in 10 seconds. It's only 2 players left over, and it's actually the paint shells that's going to confirm that last kill.
Okay, first of all, Satyr kind of went crazy in that round. It felt like every single time, like, it just like sneaked through in all these strange situations and then just was able to line up the headshots faster. So absolutely beautifully done from Satyr in that last round to keep them in this game.
This is incredibly precarious for this team. They don't have a lot of utility. They have that one ultimate very close, the orbital strike on the other side. They have to contend with the tour de force from Bell if she decides to pull it out here. But now, it's a missed recon bolt, so they're actually able to escape a lot here, getting away with no info for the attacking side.
Kai and Kaya, I mean, face to face once again, but Kaya able to do a nice rendezvous out of there, recalls those as well to be able to replace them later very quickly. And Owl Drone from the attacking side able to gather a little bit more information. I don't know if it was able to spot out that trademark, but it is enough for the attackers to decide to move to this A site instead. They've been able to have a lot of success with this A site and with the dark cover going out as well, followed by that guiding light. Satyr is moving towards showers to watch that area, but for once, a lot of the players from the attacking side are moving instead.
Oh no.
K, please, behind you. Yoja able to pick up 2 there, finishing off K and Shaka and punishing them for trying to be that aggressive onto Satyr, but thankfully Bell and Ibanez able to pick up 2 as well, keeping the score as even as possible, if not in their favor here. Bell low HP, but has this tour de force and is watching that long angle. Kaya trying to just wait for somebody to peek out, and thankfully rewarded for that. I mean, and the attacking side also just a little bit punished for not putting that bomb down a little bit sooner. Bell now rendezvous back set up and waiting for Junifor to peek around that corner, hits the shot and moved to safety, but it's just waiting to go back, and with that recon bolt ping, Ibanez lines up the shot, finishes off Kaya, and bringing home the second game, going Rando's way and bringing us to yet another 1-1 series.
In that last round, it was so close to, I feel like it's always Satyr. Even if she's not getting the kills, she's just being like a huge distraction for the enemy team. And then they hyper focus on her because she's Raze and she's flashy and she's got really big bombs. And then she ends up getting killed by behind. But they were able to bring it back with the help of some info as well as the tour de force from Bell. And now they go to map 3, which is Breeze. And we don't have a lot of information on either of these teams playing on Breeze.
I mean, we did previously see Tactical Throwers play against Revive Me Jet on Breeze, and it was actually a map that they ended up losing. But Revive Me Jet, a team that definitely kind of thrived on Breeze. It was a place where they had picked that map, they wanted to play that map, and it was something that they were very excited to interact on because it was just a strength to their team. So that could have been the reason that Tactical Throwers ended up losing that one. But nonetheless, we do know that Tactical Throwers have a loss on this map, and if Randos are ready to go ahead and just play the same way that they potentially maybe have seen Revive Me Jet play against Tactical Throwers on that map, take those long range gunfights and just be ready for it, we might be seeing some insane things coming out from Randos in game 3. However, the strengths that were shown from Randos on a map like Bind definitely lead them to more kind of skirmishy gameplay that just isn't usually the case on a map like Breeze. You're usually seeing those long range gunfights, so I'm definitely dubious of if they'll be able to close it out as well.
I definitely am curious to see what these teams are going to bring for us on Bind, but for now, we are going to be going to a very quick break before we can come back on Breeze. See you then.